Hello. Today I have my big sketchbook out. It's my really big sketchbook. I'm going to show you the cover really quick. There's a bunch of stuff under here so that I can balance it up. And I'm probably making a big mistake by removing it to show you, but there's all this junk on my cover, and it's big. You can see all my other junk underneath. This is just a book I stole for, well, they were giving it out. I took it for the gun illustrations so I can make a zine with it, just using the clippings. Other than that, I don't actually care about gun values. But it's a really big book and I use it to balance stuff on. And now I have to set my stuff up again. God dang it. That's pretty stable. I thought I would do a little collaging because I have a bunch of like colored paper and stuff and I might as well use it. Just because I have so many. I have a bunch of these papers. Like this I want to use up. These are blank papers. I might use them for something else. But I do also have these like pip sticks. They have like this little mini zine thing that comes out with the what is it? Their subscriptions. I don't have auto zoom on, but I will just open it up from here. And they just started a while ago putting them out with a bunch of like different textures and colors and stuff, so you can use them however you like, and I like that a lot, especially since, you know, I find that useful and handy. So I just wanted to like, I don't know, tape and glue stuff down. I also have these note cards and these like colored notepad papers. So I might take one color out of each one and use it. Like this orange. It's really nice. All of these colors are really fun, actually. I enjoy them. If I can get a sheet, god dang it. Please. There we go. There's orange and blue. I want to like fill up either a whole page or 2 pages, because there's like stuff behind here and I want to see if I can cover it up so that I'm not like bleeding onto the next page or like the earlier page. I'm gonna set these up here because my paper's at an angle and it's all gonna fall down. These don't come out cleanly, by the way, which might bother you, but doesn't bother me so much. Yeah, they don't come out very cleanly. It was so close just then, but it did not. And then I also have these note cards. I can, of course, use these. Got this blue, pink, teal, and the other yellow. Since there's already a yellow, I think I might use the note card line side for that at least, so that it's like interesting. And I do have these here. I don't know, like, what do I do with this? What should I use? This is like one of the ones they did before when they had like activities and stuff in them. But I found that they pivoted to just having textures really quickly. I think people just really like those, and I do too. I can't say that I'm not part of the thing. Actually, I just realized I never opened this. I think it was supposed to be a spoiler for their upcoming box at the time. Yeah, I got these. I got these ones. Those are fun. I really like the nostalgic ones because the Y2K, that was my time. I don't know, like, what do I do? I want to use like this front. Oh, that's so cute though. Maybe I'll save that for another time. I do have this like, no, I keep finding ones and I'm like, I want to save it for another time. There's just so many good things that I could use. I also really like the idea of using these QR codes somehow, like making like a texture or something. I don't know, like, what do I do? There's just so many good ones to use. Fruits. This one's like a fruit theme. There was a lot of fruit in this one. Bowl of fruits. I think this is the fruit one. I think they went back to giving like a couple like activities. Like this one is like filling the bowl with your favorite stickers. Let's see what was in here. I never opened this one either. Ooh. Fun. Okay. I think it'd be fun to use this fruity texture. So I'm just gonna tear it out. And I also have this, these kitty sticky notes that I could use. That's kind of cool how it looks like it's not moving because of the way it's all the same. So yeah, I think I will start arranging these somehow. I have these mounting squares that I can use. How am I going to arrange this without it all falling off? I will just be careful. Yep, I'm just going to put that there. I don't know what else to speak of at the moment. I'm just kind of doing this, and it takes some level of concentration. I think that's like why it's so hard to talk while doing art, because art requires concentration to a degree, and try as we might, people are not good at doing things while doing something else. We can't multitask, even though we think we can, although most ADHDers will scoff at that statement. Not because we're great at multitasking, but because we use multiple senses at the same time, if that makes sense. So like, listening and using visual attention are two different senses. And we are typically pretty good with kind of dividing those things. So like, let's say one of the things I was super guilty of as a kid was to doodle in class while listening to a lecture, and teachers would always think I wasn't listening. But that wasn't the case. I was always listening. I just was not looking. I was like doodling, and so they kind of thought I wasn't paying attention, but I was. And it actually helped me concentrate on what I was listening to, because my sense of, like, my visual senses were being fed, I guess. And, you know, I think a lot of people don't understand about ADHD is that we, as ADHDers, are starving. We're, like, so starved for visual for like the smells and tastes and touch. Like, you know that thing that people do in grounding techniques where they're like, oh no, I just fucking where they're like, oh, name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can whatever, you know what I mean? Like, we want those. We need more of those because we don't have enough stimulus. And so extra stimulus is always very welcome, unless you are overwhelmed, because we can be also sensitive ADHDers and the neurodivergent. So for me, I'm a very sensory seeking individual. Usually I actually try to light some incense before I do my videos, just so that it's just kind of part of the experience. But today I actually sprayed on my usual perfume that I always wear, Strawberry by Malin & Getz. So my olfactory senses are being like met right now. I'm actually sniffing it off of my wrist. I'm like, here, you want to sniff? Like, you can't. We don't have smell-o-vision yet, unfortunately. I wish. Ooh, I think that would be cool. Unless, take this one and put it there. Ooh, yes, I like that. Yeah, so, like, we're just very sensory-seeking individuals. We want to feel things. We want to smell, touch, see, and get all of those senses in to our bodies because we are lacking it. We lack those senses. It's just not enough sometimes, which is why I'm a leg bouncer for one. I'm not bouncing my leg right now because I'm concentrating and my senses are being like fulfilled, I guess. But it's like a lack of stimulation, and I just don't get enough of it, especially like when I was a kid during church. Ooh, it bothered my dad so bad that I was essentially not just bored, but understimulated at church. There's just not enough. It's not a friendly place for neurodivergent children, I will say. Church is kind of hell for those kind of kids. And it's just not a like inviting or friendly place for those kids to be. And I was one of them. I was in that position where it was really hard to be there and show up and have to rein it in and act normal, because I wasn't normal. And the thing is, I didn't know that. You know, I didn't know that I was neurodivergent until I was, I want to say, 24, at least. Like, I was kind of aware before, but I didn't really get a formal diagnosis or medication until 2022. And that's very recent. That's like 3 years ago, right? I got a clue before then, especially since my ADHD friends were screaming practically like, dude, you are you are it. Like, that is you. You are neurodivergent. And I was like, what do you mean? It just shook my world to find out that everything I thought I knew was not true. It really is like an alarming realization to be like, no way. You can't say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. No way. Are you for real? Like, I'm neurodivergent? It was incredibly shocking to find out. And, like, you know, parse that as my reality from then on. it's just like, oh gosh, I it there comes not just relief and like an epiphany, but also grief. For me, there was a lot of grief. I grieved a lot because, number one, I was grieving the person I thought I was. You know, that sort of facade had revealed itself as a facade, like the unmasking, and then it just came crashing down. I was also scared because I was like, well, if I'm incapable of doing things because I am neurodivergent, does that just mean I'm like that forever? Like I can't do anything forever? Like, you know that that post that's all like, OMG, I'm having a hard time putting together my Halloween costume because of my ADHD or whatever, and that person is like, OMG, you people can't do anything. That's how I felt. I felt like, oh my god, I can't do anything. God. Oh, you people. It was me. I was you people. You know, I was like, oh god, I'm not capable of doing anything. That's how it really felt, though. You know, it's not really what I wanted to mean, but I felt that way. I couldn't help but feel that way. I couldn't help but feel like I just couldn't do friggin' anything right. And so that was one of my griefs. My other grief was that my whole life, there should have been moments where people caught me struggling and said, you know, this person needs help. You know, this person needs help, or something is just not typical of this person. And instead, I was punished. Like, I was just seen as a problem child for a lot of the times. Like, I was just troublesome. I was getting into, like, stuff I probably shouldn't have. Just, you know, things that kids do, but especially kids that are, like, just missing, like, a certain level of care that they are needing. And instead of being helped, I was, like, punished. I got in trouble. I got yelled at. I got detention. And that's hard. You know, I think that's really hard. Especially for a child. Especially for a child who is struggling with, like, a level of neurodivergence. And doesn't have that attention to their needs. I didn't know that my needs were not being met for the longest time. And I wondered why my childhood was so unsatisfactory in a lot of ways, because I had a roof over my head, I had food, parents who cared about me, you know, and I did have friends who had, I would say, worse situations, just because I would not be surviving what they went through personally. I had friends who had, like, really bad situations, so I knew that I wasn't in a, you know, a terrible situation. I knew that I was being looked after, and yet something felt like it was missing. And I think that's, like, pretty common, actually, especially for children who have been neglected in some way. And that is, like, a thing that's really hard to pinpoint with neglect, where it's like, how do you identify a feeling of neglect when there's no signs of something having happened to you? It's an absence. How do you, like, tell people this? It's really hard. And so I'm not saying that I was, like, super neglected, like, oh, like, nobody cared or whatever. But, you know, there are some big needs in neurodivergent children, and I didn't get I didn't get all that, you know. I just soldiered on alone most of the time with a lot of feelings and a lot of like stuff that was hard. I just soldiered on and just was alone with a lot of it. And, you know, it was really hard to, like, grieve that for a long time, because I kept thinking about it. I kept making the pain fresh. And it's not like it doesn't hurt still. Like, I am already, like, feeling emotional for, like, that young self of mine that was just not getting that, like, care and need, the needs being met. I'm feeling a lot for that young part of myself, and I always do. But I also have to have a little space. Like, I need some space, you know what I mean? And so I personally have more space between that and me now. And it just feels a little more like the past. And I am a little relieved because, you know, I can honor that past. I can honor those hurts, but also not be so affected by them all the time that it just ruins my present. And it really sucks, but the only thing you can do is be present and move forward, while reflecting on the past when it's necessary and possible. Like, sometimes people ruminate, and, you know, ruminate comes from, like, ruminant animals. They chew their cud over and over again. They just keep thinking and chewing the same cud until it's like mush and like super digested and processed already. You know, it's already been processed is a thing. So for me, it's just like, I don't know. I gotta like focus on the now, which is full of joy. And the thing is, like, a lot of people in my life were really quick to skip to that part without ruminating first, and that was a little offensive to me, where it's like, you know, the past happened already, you can't change it, it's time to just think about how you can be happy now. And it makes sense, right? Like, from a perspective, it makes sense, but like looking back on that hurt is necessary. I think it's like completely necessary to allow yourself to grieve that first, before you move on. Because I never got to process it as a kid. I never got to be angry. I never got to be upset or sad. In fact, that was something that was really frowned upon, to outwardly be upset, sad, mad, confused. In fact, we were told to move on a lot of the time. So I had to do that as an adult, because it doesn't go away, you know. That feeling doesn't really go away. It just finds a way to hide within yourself as like a different piece. And I just think like it was necessary to eventually acknowledge it. You know, I think that ignoring it doesn't help, and like I said, it stores itself in your body as like a sort of somatic response. It stores itself as something that you feel. I want to try something. I want to crinkle this up. Give it some texture. But yeah, it stores itself in your body and you still have it. And it carries itself with you, and unless you release it somehow, you just forever have that. And boy, it really felt like I was gonna have that anger and that frustration forever. But like I said, I eventually had to let go a little bit. I had to, otherwise it was going to eat me up. And it's not always about like, oh, forgiveness or whatever. I think it's more about acceptance. Sometimes you will not forgive people for what they did, or like you will not forgive those like things that they did. And that's alright, but you have to accept that it happened and move on. You know, that kind of thing is just always going to be a part of your experience now. And there's no helping that. The only thing you can do is just be like, oh, okay, whatever. It happened in my life and it's forever a part of my experience. And I will not let that define everything about me now. You can let it identify your experience and identify parts of yourself now and really illuminate things about yourself, but you can't just like be that hurt forever. You could. It would make you a miserable person and people would find that you are a miserable person. But I don't know, I think that kind of stuff can't live forever inside of you as like a living thing. I think sometimes it's just gotta be left where it is. I don't know, like I wonder what oh god, I wonder what other people's experiences with ADHD are like, undiagnosed. Because, I actually have kind of a broad range of perspectives from folks that I know of how it was like being ADHD or autistic or both, ADHD as it were. Some people were diagnosed very early on in life and have never really experienced life without being medicated or being chased around by people trying to help them. And that they found that frustrating in its own right. Whereas it's easy for me to say that, oh man, I would have killed to have somebody like hold my hand through these things or have these resources. It's easy for me to say that, but I feel like I would have also been in a different hell. Hold on. We back. I just had a spam caller try to call me, I think. But yeah, it's always interesting to see how people's perspectives on these kind of things are. And just understand how different their lives were from mine, while having like very similar problems. Maybe even different problems because of how different they were. Maybe I should put another piece of paper here. I'm thinking orange because there's not a lot of orange going on. There's a lot of Oh, wrong one. A lot of pink and blue and yellow. Let's get orange to the stage. First of all, mess it up. I don't know, like, I would love to hear if anybody listening has their own perspectives on what it was like to grow up with ADHD, whether it was diagnosed or not. Because again, I was not diagnosed until I was like in my early 20s, almost mid 20s, basically. That's like, for me, that feels very late. But I know there's other people who are like older than that, and they don't even know until they're like elderly. And I think that's crazy. I think at that point, when you're elderly and you find out, you're just like, oh, huh, okay. You know, it's not like a big epiphany where it's like, oh god, I gotta recenter my life around this thing now. I think that's just more like, well, shit, I've lived this long. I guess that's why all of this stuff is like that. That's my perspective anyway, from what it seems like. But I guess I could be wrong. Like, other people might be like, oh my god, now this is so much easier. You know, I think everybody will feel like that. After the grief. There's so much grief, at least for me. Like, I don't know. It's very interesting. There's, like, things that I find out, like how difficult it is to do things that neurotypicals do, or the neurotypical way. What I mean by that is that, like, a lot of self-help and motivational things are not really gonna work for ADHDers, like, those goal-oriented, things. We just don't have enough dopamine to carry us through a task. When you get a little bit of a task done as a neurotypical, your brain rewards you with some dopamine along the way, so that like a trail of birdseed, so that you can keep going. But ADHDers just don't have that. We just are like, this is agonizing and this sucks, because it's not rewarding yet, and it won't be rewarding for a while. And I can't lie, I don't want to I don't want to do something if it's not going to be rewarding, to do it, you know. That's just like work without reward. And so for us, we have to find a way to find a way for it to be rewarding throughout the process, and we have to make the process itself the reward, and treat ourselves, because it's like, I heard the term where it's like, eat the frog first, where you have to do the hard, undesirable thing first, and then it's out of the way. ADHDers typically will balk at that and be like, I just won't eat the frog. I will just not do it. And that is literally what happens. Like, for me, I did not write school essays because I couldn't eat the frog. I had to just not do the essay to begin with, and then take the F. And it's like, why did you have to? You don't have to. I'm like, yeah, I do. You don't know me. And so that's like kind of how that worked for me for a while. But I find that I can find my own way to make things rewarding throughout the process. Like, for one, use other people to your advantage. Not like use them, but like, how do I say this? Use the power of friendship. use the power of friendship to get you going. Like, let's say you're working on a big project. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take a lot of work. And you're just like, oh man, this is like hard to focus on. Use the power of friendship to your advantage. What I would do is be like showing work in progress shots, or telling them that I got this far, and then you know what friends typically do is they congratulate you. They say, wow, that's cool, or man, you did a great job, or you're making progress. And that is like an instant shot of dopamine for one. It feels good to have your friends recognize your efforts, and they will do this I'll tell you, they'll do this for absolutely free, and they don't mind doing it. In fact, they want to congratulate you. So don't underestimate the power of friendship, because it is a powerful thing, and it will get you places if you allow it to. Like, it's great. People will get you places by being human, and you can join in on the human experience and just be part of a human experience by being part of a group. If you don't have a group, find one for sure. I think it's very important that you find your people. Oh god, I'm dropping like the peelies from the mounting squares everywhere. So I made a big pile. Oh god lord, they're getting everywhere. You don't see it, but they're all over the floor right now. Good god. What was I gonna say before I dropped all that? I'm a little preoccupied picking them up. Help me. Whatever. So what I was gonna say is, my at the time boyfriend, who I like to say at the time instead of ex because it's a little gentler, because he's a good guy. I'm on speaking terms with him and such. My at the time boyfriend, he told me something that his mom said, where it was like a music video of some sort in which this guy in a bee suit walks around trying to fit in with other people, and like nobody's wearing a bee suit. And he's like giving up until at the end there's like a bunch of other people in a bee suit in like their own bee suits, and then they have a good time because he found his as we say, his bee people. And so in my mind, I keep saying to myself, find your bee people. You know, it's just a catchy thing to say, for one. And also, any neurodivergent person will spit out anything that they hear. Oh shoot, there's 2 kitty cats here. Oh god. Yeah, so, I don't know. I think it's good to find your bee people, whether it be online or in person. And the thing about online is that, like, depending on where you are in life, you can... This is something I very much caution, but if you have known each other a while, and they are not a relationship scammer, that's a very important one. If they're not trying to fatten you up and then chop you up in all little pieces, you can perhaps meet up if it's safe to do so and rational and reasonable. Which I have done. In fact, that's how I have met my now boyfriend. He and I met online and we realized that we were actually very near each other. In terms of like two complete strangers on the internet realizing that they live in the same state. That's like, whoa. And so we met up, and the rest is kind of history. And that's just how it goes. And I have met other friends of mine from the World Wide Web in person. And they are my bee people, especially since they understand my struggles, my unique struggles. First of all, I am really wanting to spot these lemons. I'm going to use this brush marker. I already spotted a couple. There's a lemon. There's one. Oh shoot, there's another one. Lemon. That's 4. There's 5. There are 5 lemons. I have spotted the 5 lemons. Hell yeah. Yeah. So I think I want to like do something here. Maybe I'll draw those bee people. Because I feel like I was just like not having a theme or anything for this spread. But now I feel like I want to make it around kind of what I've been talking about, like ADHD and neurodivergence and realizing and finding yourself and finding these other people. And I haven't used this specific brush pen in a while. It does require a lot of concentration, so if I go nonverbal, then that's probably why. I saw an artist that I follow really likes using like markers, like brush marker like this, that I guess this is more of a brush pen that has like skipping in the marker so that there's, or pen, that so that there's like white in between. I don't really like that. That's not my thing, but it looks really cool when she does it. I just can't make it work the way that she does, and I don't really care for it very much. I don't know, I think it's very important to find your bee people. My bee people find each other like JoJo's like stand users, because I think neurodivergent gay people find each other very much like stand users in JoJo, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. If you don't know what I'm talking about, oops. Well, the thing about them is that they are people who have like these very special abilities, and so they are always running into each other because of some invisible force. They are always able to run into each other and cause trouble with each other. They just sense something. They don't know that they're stand users until they start using their stands, but there's like a magnetism between stand users, if that makes sense. Something is bringing them together. And it's because Araki said so, the guy who made JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He just decides something is canon because he made it, and that's beautiful to me. There's a bee people. And I want to use some marker. I want to mix my mediums up here. I'm going to use this popcorn marker, and I color the caps of some of these if they have very similar barrel colors, just so I know them apart. I want to draw a bee person in dance. Heck yeah. I think this is very beauteous and joyful. I love Mr. Sketch markers. I haven't really used Mr. Sketch markers as prolifically as I used to. And I don't really know why. I think I just, I don't know what it is, but I haven't been as crazy. I think it's just because I'm medicated and stable now and not manic, to be honest, that I am like not manically creating art like I was when I was manic. I think that's another thing, is that I also was like, oh, I'm not only neurodivergent but mentally ill. The mental illness thing came after the neurodivergent, before the neurodivergent thing. I didn't know I was ADHD until after I knew that I was bipolar. And it's a vulnerable thing to talk about, you know, like I will not expect everybody in the world to share that they're gay, that they're bipolar or depressed or any of those things. It's a hard thing to talk about. So it's not like I can judge everybody because they might not share these things because they have to protect themselves. And I get it. I really do. But for me, I feel like it's necessary to be honest and open about that, because it kind of colors a lot of my experience and a lot of my work. I feel like you can't talk about my work without talking about those parts of myself. Those are very relevant to who I am. I'll like let that dry a little bit. Maybe I should look up a picture of a bee just so I have like a bee reference. Where's my keyboard? It's like behind everything here. I just have to type in 3 letters. B. No, those are R's. B. I have found the pictures of bees. The bombus, if you will. I do like bees. They're quite good animals. I think bees are very important. Bee people has been a very important phrase in my life. Because I think it's really good to have your bee people. I think it's very lovely. My markers. I love my markers. I love my Mr. Sketch markers so much. Bee. People. I want to like write that here. It's a little difficult over the thing, but I think it's gonna look really cool. I don't even know what the music video is. I've never seen it in my life, but maybe I should look it up. And I'm gonna line these like yellow here so that you can actually see it. I'm gonna like reverse do these words. Let's see. Oh, come on. There we go. I promise this is gonna make sense. Find your people. I wanna, I was aiming for you will find your bee people. I think I will still do that. I really like that. It's really nice. Oh, my beloved and dreaded nacho cheese marker. I still don't like how it smells, but it makes a really beautiful color. It's like this beautiful, like yellow orange. It's just not as red as the regular orange, and it's just nice and subtle, but it smells so loud. It smells like peppery nacho cheese. Like you can smell the pimentos, and like I don't like it. It's just not, it's not cute. But I am drawing bee people. And they need that nice, rich orange in there. So, I realized I looked up a picture, or like pictures of bees. Haven't used them yet. I will, promise. No promises, but I will. Oh, this nacho smell is like filling my senses. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. It's quite bad. I'm gonna like bring in this yellow a little bit, just because I find it a little too far. There we go. Yeah, because I feel like this is a little extended out, and I want to like do that. Might even color in this person's face because I want that to be their skin tone. There we go. And like add some more orange to really shade in. This is my shading color that I'm shading with, of course. I like to layer the lightest colors first on Mr. Sketch and then put darker colors later. That's just how I do it. That's like, yeah, there we go. There we go. And like, add some fingers. Actually, I forgot about fingers. Two, three, 4, 5. I wonder if I can color this guy in without like smearing the ink. Yeah, the ink is dried, so it's like fine. Like add a little pop of color to the side just to give it a little personality. And like to the wings as well. There you go. And maybe a little bit of that nacho, unfortunately. Not the biggest fan of that color. Well, yes, I do like the color, I just don't like the smell of it. Let's add a little bit there. Yep. I like it. I think your bee people are so important to find. I think your bee people change as well. Sometimes you realize that the crowd you were with is no longer the crowd that you ride or die with. And that sounds a little counterproductive to not ride or die with anybody anymore, but sometimes you find out that you guys have different directions and you just cannot ride with them no more. Like, I don't know. It's kind of vague, but I know some people have surprised me with their beliefs being completely opposite of mine. Oh my god, please get this thing out of here. Like, let's take a different marker. I don't know, what if you find, like, let me talk about a movie I saw. I saw Will and Harper, which is about Will Ferrell and his friend Harper. I'm not remembering her last name all of a sudden, but she transitioned, and she had been a huge comedian for the longest time, and she kind of found that, oh, this is like really who I am. And you know, first of all, it scared her knowing that this is so different. You know, her life is basically different now. And so I don't know that it was mentioned that there were any folks that she did reach out to that was not on board with her transitioning. But that's the case for some people, where they find something out about themselves so drastic, and then other people in their life say, you know what, sorry, there's a hair there. They just find out and they're just like, well, you know, I can't do this anymore. And I can't do this. And you know what? Good riddance to people like that. If it's something that's so fundamentally like you and like your truth. Some people can't get down with your truth because they just can't, and it's sad, but they just can't. They're just not capable of honoring that about you. Other times people turn out to be completely not who you thought they were. Like, I don't know, sometimes you are friends with somebody for years and then it turns out they touch kids and then you're like, oh, that's like one thing. It's like, oh, well, I can't roll with that, dude. Sorry, I don't fuck with that. I'm not about that. Sometimes people just change and it's not for the better. They just change for the worse. It just happens. But, B people come and go. I think sometimes B people come and go for the right and wrong reasons. But you should always have B people behind you. I realized I didn't do wings, so I'm doing wings right now. I think it's always good to have somebody who's got your back. What do I do for the color here? I guess I'm gonna do this blue. Oh, pulling it out. I love Mr. Sketch markers. I don't think I can emphasize it enough. It's a little quiet. I don't have any thoughts. I don't know, like, sometimes people do come and go in your life. Sometimes it's because of you. I think that's, like, the hardest pill to swallow. Like, they didn't just leave because they were an asshole or anything. They left because they didn't roll with you no more. Whether that's your fault or not. And you just have to cope. And, it's tough. It's really tough to know that you're the reason why. Just period. You're the reason. But you know what? We bawl. I think heartache happens. And we just have to live with it and move on. We don't always get to choose how things pan out. Stuff is just like that in life. And, it hurts. But like I said, we move on. We find a way to keep going, and we do. We do keep going. And more people fill your life. if you let them in. That's a very important thing. If you're wondering why you don't have any B people and then you're actively pushing them away, then that's why you don't have no B people, bruh. Like, just saying. You gotta be an inviting person. Even if it's not easy, you don't get a choice. You have to just be inviting. And, like, not rude and be nice. Be nice. Get it? Ha 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 ha. I don't know, like I'm remembering times in high school where there were people that I wanted to belong with, and I tried to, like, be nice to them and talk to them and even, like, give gifts. Nothing big, but, like, doodles and drawings and stuff. But they just didn't roll with me. Or at least I'm thinking of one person in particular who just didn't roll with it. And I don't know what it was. Maybe I was just too neurodivergent. Maybe I just wasn't into anime enough. Whatever it was. But, you know, I tried. I put out my fishing line and I tried. And I think that's what really mattered. Because I did end up finding people who fuck with me anyways. So it's like, well, I didn't lose. I didn't lose out on friendship or anything. I just did not have that person as my B people. Because they didn't fuck with me. Whatever. You know, it is what it is. And, you know, maybe they weren't for me anyway. I feel like they really weren't. Because now that I look back, I'm like, part of me was relieved I was not friends with this person. Because of the way that they were. I don't know if things have changed or what is going on in this person's life anymore, even. But, you know, I think, like, wow. Not that I dodged a bullet, but, like, my life could have been altered. Like, the course of it could have been very different if I had been allowed in to this crowd. I will say, it was, like, hard to really feel like I was, belonging anywhere in high school because, I didn't really fit in with the Asian crowd despite, you know, automatically being one. Like, that was kind of a prerequisite, and I met it, but I wasn't really with them. They were too, let's see, I guess too smart and actually successful. I felt like what I like to call a defective Asian as a kid. Because I really wasn't like other Asian kids. I didn't do well in school. I didn't do these things well. I wasn't part of the ASB club, for one. God, that was not my B people. I was not the ASB people. But I don't know. I think I found my crowd within high school. I was friends with, like, mostly the theater kids, actually. And I was like, huh, isn't it funny that I'm the only straight person in the room? Which wasn't true. There were no straight people in that room. Really, really, really funny. But yeah, I really did not know at the time. I didn't know for the longest time, okay? cut me some slack. Like, it's not easy. But yeah. I found college was kind of difficult for me. I had a hard time there because I was not, again, I still wasn't diagnosed, so I didn't know why I had such trouble with school my entire goddamn life. I just always had a hard time, and nobody could help me. I don't know if nobody wanted to help me, or nobody could help me, or nobody recognized I was struggling. But I didn't know how to study because nobody really, oops, I need that blue. Nobody teaches you how to study. Nobody really prepares you for all that. And so when college came around, where you have to do everything yourself, it was like, oh, this is hard. It was like really, really hard. I just dropped the pen cap and I don't know where it went. Wait, I think I have it. But yeah, it was just hard. Like, I did not know that I was ADHD, so I thought I was just, highly technical term being very lazy and didn't want to succeed, and everything was my fault, and being really hard on myself. Yep, that was it. That's totally what was going on, right? Like, could not have been anything else. And so I kind of suffered. I sure suffered. But it's okay. Will I say that suffering meant anything? No. Sometimes shit is just shit, and sometimes you just suffered. Did not mean anything beautiful. It meant that I was having a hard time and I did not have the resources or help. And you know what? That's just my experience. That's just part of how I experienced my life. And I can't really do anything about that past. Which is, again, that sucks to hear that you can't change the past like that. But it is true. I really like how this bee person turned out. I'm thinking I want to, like, take some orange and make a shadow underneath the foot just so that that little extra bit of color that I didn't end up using is, like, covered somehow. And then there we go. It feels good to use Mr. Sketch markers. It really does. I like them a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's more to add here, but I'm not sure what to add. I did pull up those pictures of bees. Maybe I should draw a bee, like a real bee. Like over here. Big eye. Fuzzy body. They're like me. Very fuzzy things. They're quite, like, funny. It's a little hard to see because I'm using red and over, like, red colors, but I promise I will make it more visible in a second. Let's, like, add some feelers. Let's get the yellow out also. This is the normal yellow, which is banana. It forever upsets me though, because it used to be lemon. It used to be lemon yellow, and it smelled like lemon Skittles. But now it's banana, which I don't really like as much as the lemon. I think part of this decision was because they released a lemon ice marker along with the ice cream limited edition sets, which are no longer available, which pisses me off because they had like the cutest colors that I use like a lot. And then I can't find them anymore. If anybody knows where to find the lemon markers or like the ice cream set colors, like this bubblegum pink carried so many of my illustrations, and now it's like empty, and I held it upside down in here. If anybody knows where to get these things, inform me. I'm so for real. I need to know. Let's see. Eyeball. And like fuzzy head. This bee is gonna be very cute, I hope. Let's get like the feelers. And like its big, funny, fuzzy, bungly legs. And like, it's got like wings that go like back like this. I'm just gonna like, yeah. There's like space in there. It's like, this is hard because it's like drawing over the crinkly bits. It's kind of hard. It's okay, I can do it though. I can break these cuffs. You can't break those cuffs. Please know what I'm talking about. Please understand. Bungly bee. Let's get like the blue out. I think its eye is actually more like, whoop. Yeah, there you go. There you are. Bees are quite good animals, I think. They do a lot for us. There was like this picture that I saw this week that was like lunch without bees, and it was like the before picture where it was like lunch with bees in the world was like a hamburger with like fruit on the side. It was like a school lunch looking kind of deal. And then the next picture next to it was like, it was like lunch without bees. And it was just like, there was a nothing burger, like literally a nothing burger. There was just like a bun. And that was it. There was nothing else. Like, and I'm just like, wow, this is so profound. Which it was. Like, you know, I don't think we realize that we need pollinators so much, and it's very important to have them in the world, and to preserve them and let them be, but they're so important to have. We need bees. We will suffer without bees. No bee people is bad. We have to have bee people. You will find your bee people. I wanted to get this purple in here somehow, because it kind of deepens the blue without using black. Although I think I might leave it alone because it's super wet and messed up. Is it bleeding on the other side? Not so bad. There's like a couple spots, but it's not as bad as I thought it was. Not sure what to add here. Otherwise, I think this is a very successful bee people spread so far. I may add to it later. But I will do that another time. So yes, I hope you enjoyed the bee people spread, I guess, and I hope that I have more ideas for what to put in this bee spread. Okay, bye-bye.